Welcome to the All49ers show. We're the All49ers writers. Jose Sanchez, Grant Cohn. The draft is tomorrow. This could be Deebo Samuel's last day on the team. He can get traded any moment. So let's start with his latest, maybe his last tweet as a member of the 49ers. About an hour ago, he said, "Too real to entertain half the stuff y'all be saying, but it do be funny though. Everybody want their voice to be heard about a situation they know nothing about and just be saying whatever the next person say, ... Have a blessed day. Deuces." What do you think about Deebo Samuel once again pointing out that no one knows what's going on and yet offering zero clarity?
This guy's just trolling us at this point. Doesn't he have to be? He just keeps kicking the beehive that is us who talk about it for a living and the fans. But to me, it's just, couldn't you just say it straight up what's going on? Just, smash it, just, end it there. But he just keeps leading it on. Maybe it's an agreement that he has with himself and his agent or the 49ers of, hey, we're not going to put all this, air out all our dirty laundry in public or not. Because it definitely feels like he's having fun with it to a degree. Like he's just like, I'm just these guys, and not everything's football related, Grant, just letting you know, not everything's football related, Grant. So he's probably taking it to that levels. But to me, it's just, dude, why would you just let us know what is up? I mean, I get there's a point like, hey, there's no such thing as entitlement. We know anything, but all right, well, then he shouldn't get all upset or emotional over what people are drawing speculation over.
Well, he's trying to act like he's not upset and emotional, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It's hella funny. Like, you've tweeted this 3-4 times now. You blocked me about the same thing. Every time it's like, oh, wow, everyone thinks they know. Like, it's clearly bothering you that people are speculating. If that's the case, clear it up. You don't owe anyone an explanation. But if it bothers you that people are speculating about a mystery that you could clear up, clear it up. You have the keys. You have the solution to this. If you don't want to do that, then just, I guess he's saying he's laughing at it, but I think he's pressed. I think he's a little upset.
It's probably like a catch-22 for him. Is he's like, some of this stuff is funny. Some of this also is like a straight face palm for him, but it's like, that's pretty much the nail on the head right there. It's like, all right, look, you kind of created this to a degree. No one would have knew a single thing about a trade request, about anything until the very moment where you scrubbed your Instagram account. And now it just forced us to start drawing like a little bit of like hypotheticals, little theories of what's going on, because ultimately we're still kind of in the dark of what your real beef is. Is it because of money? Is it because of usage? Or what is it, Deebo? I mean, you just keep going out there, just keep leaving all those cryptic tweaks. All he's doing is essentially just sending smoke signals and using us all just to figure it out for ourselves, which, of course we're all going to freak out about it and talk about it.
And plus he's adding fuel to like people's fire, like people who are kind of like, for example, there was a person who wrote for us like for a month who no longer writes for us and has really far out takes, like crazy stuff. Sorry. But he's saying like him and other people are saying it's because of Trey Lance. It's because Trey Lance was, not good on third down, like which is to me ridiculous. But until Deebo says something, then anyone can say anything.
Yep. Anyone can say anything. All those outrageous takes are going to be drawing conclusions. Right? Is it because of Trey Lance? Is it because of, I don't know, someone looked at him the wrong way or whatever? I don't know. Everything's going to be far-fetched, but hey, until this guy at least clears some of the sand from the picture, we're going to still have that blurred vision of what's going on.
Yeah, and as long as there's really no evidence, any person can say, well, this is the theory. Like any theory has as much weight as another. So Deebo, I don't know. You might want to get out in front of this because the Niners are very in a sly way, they're making you look like the bad guy.
Yeah, because they already have.
Deebo, you can't talk to him. We don't even know what his deal is. We tried to give him his money. He doesn't want it. Like, you got to get out in front of this eventually.
Mm-hmm. And they did it with Adam Schefter just last week already, right? Just last week when they immediately said, hey, look, it's us. We're over here. We're trying to give this guy a deal. He's the one that doesn't want to talk. Look at that guy. They already had their own little safety net, and they kind of knew the trade request was coming. And so while Deebo's just continuing to go off this cryptic thing, the Niners essentially have kind of indirectly said it through the media, through Adam Schefter and stuff like that.
We haven't made an offer.
Come out there.
We haven't made an offer. He won't negotiate with us. He won't tell us what his issue is. Deebo, that doesn't sound good. And I want to be on your side because I don't trust these organizations. I don't trust their narrative. So give us something. Don't just be like, haha, you don't know. Like, well, great. I know I don't know. I can give my best guess.
I think this is why I'm riding with your theory about the dinner and something happened there in terms of like maybe they gave him a little sneak peek or a reiteration of what his usage is going to be going forward, and then they probably did also throw out a ballpark number because remember Lynch does know the estimate of the number, hence why we have it budgeted in terms of what we're going to pay him.
Yeah, and later on in the show we're going to go through other people's theories because Deebo, it's not just me and Jose, it's Richard Sherman. It's Matt Mayoko, and they have their theories too. So we're going to talk about what they said. First, we're going to talk about what Richard's Remedy says. Does Deebo realize that he's making Grant rich right now? I mean, I'm not mad that Deebo got all this going because it was a very dry offseason. Very dry.
I'm so he's made the draft week fun because they're not picking first round. I mean, what's there to get excited about other than this?
Well, I got a bonus topic. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm writing in the banner for later because I don't want to forget. But this is a good one. This is a good one. And it was alerted to me by someone in a DM, a private DM that I didn't follow. So I forget who it was. I'll give you your props, but this is the last topic. Bonus topic at the end, everyone. All right, let's stay with Deebo for now. So it's been reported that the Jets are hot and heavy for Deebo, that they're probably in the lead, and if any team trades for him, it's going to be them. Last week, it was reported that they're offering the 10th pick. Last night, it was reported by Trey Wingo, Tony Pauline, that it could go down at any moment, and it seems like the Niners are going to get the 10th pick and more, which makes me feel like maybe a second-round pick this year, maybe 2 second-round picks this year, maybe something next year. What do you would that be best? Would that be good news for the 49ers? I mean, how do you look at this?
Yeah, 10th pick. If it's not leading off with the 10th pick, if you're the 49ers, you're not even entertaining the trade haul, whatever package they're dealing with to you. Like if it's not led with the first round number 10 pick, at the very least, you're not listening to everything else. If they're just going to give you that Tyreek Hill deal, nah. Mm-hmm. And I understand look, he's not worth the same as the Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is obviously a significantly better player, or at least he's proven it, for his track record. But the point is, the Niners don't want to give him up. When you don't want to give up something, your value kind of skyrockets. You got to really wow someone to really want to move off something. Even with me, like, look, I'm not going to give up my car for nothing. You're going to have to really double or triple that, what I got for that, just because I love it so much. And that's the 49ers with Deebo right now. So if it's not led with 10 pick, we're not listening. To me personally, I'd rather than be like, yo, you're gonna have to juice to something higher. Give us that 6 or are they picking 6? No, they're picking 6.
Yeah.
I would really probably rather have that 6th pick instead than the 10th because I just don't see where the high end, top heavy prospects are. At least if you get the 6, it's a little more. You have a little more options, and then whatever other slew draft haul you can get, maybe even reel in that player that you're talking about that you want someone, maybe like an Elijah Moore or whoever they have because. You were so right last week when you said, if they're not bringing in, if we're not getting a player back who can help us right now, I don't want just a whole slew of picks. I want like a player and maybe some picks. And that makes the perfect sense. So to me, 10th is cool, but I'd rather aim a little higher just because you have the leverage, San Francisco.
Richard Sherman said they should ask for a top 10 pick and a Pro Bowl player. A combo. I mean, it seems like a lot. Okay. I just feel like what the Niners do, they have they negotiate against themselves in the sense that they make it pretty known that they're kind of lowballing a player. Like, well, you're a running back, injury issues, and we don't think you're worth what the market says or what you think you're worth. And then they turn around and they're like, dude, this guy's worth so much. And Trey, we love him so much. He's so elite. Like, I don't know. Teams can use your arguments against you. Like the same reasons you don't want to pay him are the same reason. But anyway, it seems like the Niners are going to luck out. Like even after they botched the situation with Deebo, even after he asked for a trade, they might find a desperate trade partner that's willing to give them more than like the Jets could have had Tyreek Hill, didn't get him. And now they're going to offer way more for Deebo. Like that's good luck for the 49ers. That seems like bad business for the Jets, but good luck for the 49ers.
Well, it's also because like the Jets are desperate. They've already swung and missed so many times. And again, you're going to try to acquire a guy who the Niners aren't so keen on moving on. Whereas the Chiefs, they were keen on moving on him. Tyreek was like, hey, I want that Devontae Adams deal and then some. And then that's when the Chiefs said, no, you go away. You figure out your trade. And that's when the both sides are cool. So it becomes a little bit of the point where, all right, we don't have to offer as much because we know both sides want to trade. So let's try to get away with just a bunch of these second round picks and whatever more we can trickle on. I think that's where I just really just draw a line in the sand, and where you're in the 49ers, you could just ask and demand for more, because the Jets are desperate. They keep sniffing around for wide receivers, and is DK Metcalf and AJ Brown going to go on the block? I mean, nothing sounds remotely close to that. It's just Deebo right now, and you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up Deebo, so that's where you can really milk where the Jets offer is going to be here.
I guess it's kind of messed up. Hold on, let me refresh myself real quick. Give me a second.
Refresh. How the hell? The two sides? How am I on two sides right now?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell's going on. I was doing a speed test and it said my connection was fine. Anyway, official BNN Music 88 says fans can completely understand Harbaugh beefing with the front office because of their nonsense, but God forbid a player like Deebo has a problem. Yeah, I'm going to talk about sort of like the generational gap between the Niners front office and young star players in a minute. But anyway, all I want to say is I have one last thought about this report about what the Jets are offering. The Niners should have said yes already. They should have taken this. I hope that they're just waiting until like the Jets are on the clock to make this official. But I hate to think that this is on the table and John Lynch is like, we need more. We need more. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they're looking at. What the exact point I was just saying is they just wanted to try to like keep just milking out whatever offer they can get. I mean, again, you have the time, and maybe the Niners are trying to conduct research to see if that offer is even enough. Because at this point, when did Deebo officially make a trade request? Within the last like 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At that point, the draft board is already mostly, if not close to being mostly made up. So how much more time are you really going to research on other players around that time? So I'm pretty sure they're probably trying to make it up to see if it's even worth accepting it if they're going to get that 10th pick.
Okay, let's move on. Richard Sherman has a podcast, and on it, it's with Pro Football Focus, and on it, he has a co-host, and the co-host asked him, what do you think of the Deebo situation with the Niners? And Richard Sherman was like, look, I haven't talked to Deebo, but it seems pretty clear that the 49ers disrespected him in this process, that from Deebo's perspective, he sacrificed for the 49ers. He's not a running back, but he played running back. He did whatever they said. He took them to the NFC Championship game, and he was expecting some sort of like an appreciation on the back end. Like, hey, you did all this extra for us above and beyond. We're going to take care of you. And I think it was pretty clear that the Niners don't do business that way. They're always going to try to find a team-friendly angle. They're always going to try to sort of like take some money from you, take you down a peg, make you feel like you're worth less than you really are. And I don't think Deebo, basically what Richard Sherman said is like a lot of players have put up with it for the 49ers, but he, for whatever reason, is taking it personal and that he feels disrespected. What do you think of Sherman's analysis?
Yeah, I think he would know better than anyone else, right? He didn't have an agent, so he really had the true hands-on experience that probably not even that of Fred Warner and George Kittle had. I mean, he was speaking for himself. He really was in those meetings. He knows all the contractual language and everything, how it goes to really structure a deal and everything, the ins and outs of what say. But I think to me, why Deebo's getting a little offended is exactly what you just said, citing what Sherman said. Hey, he was the heart and soul of that team. He led them. He carried them. He did so much for them, what they asked for with no complaints. So he probably wanted to see a better initial offer. But the thing is, even if he wasn't that, that ball out character that he was last year, and it was mainly more strictly receiver, the Niners were still going to essentially give him a low offer at first. Cause I mean, that's just not only just the way they do business, but it's kind of the way like teams in general always want to go a little on the lower side. It's not often you're going to try to immediately give them, what they want. There's always a tuck and pull here. It's the point of negotiations, which I'm surprised that Deebo, maybe got that little understanding what the first offer was going to be. And he just said, nah, drew the line in the sand, just backed off and went trade request. It was that disrespectful to him. I mean, everyone has their own way of interpreting things. So maybe just that first offer that he heard of, received, whatever, turned out to just be enough for him to really get him in a foul mood to want to move on.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. I think the 49ers, like what Richard Sherman's saying, is sort of implying Deebo might be a little sensitive. But the implication is like, well, Deebo's not, going through the hell that we all went through. Mm-hmm. That's true. Why should he have to go through it? It seems like the reality of players having to go through that awful contract negotiating with Parag, which is painful, was, a function of teams having more power than players, just kind of a function of how the NFL works. The NFL is changing. I think it's becoming more of a players' league. It's becoming more like the NBA. Players are getting more money, more guaranteed money. And I think that maybe the Niners' style of negotiating is a little antiquated, a little outdated. And a guy like Richard Sherman, who came to the Niners at 30 and wasn't going to be making $30 million, you got to sit through the Parag thing and take it with the smile. But, Deebo doesn't. Deebo's talking 30 million. He's in that stratosphere. And if he feels like Parag looks at him wrong and doesn't give him the proper amount of respect, he's going to pull a Ben Simmons. He's going to pull a Kyrie Irving. You see this all the time in the NBA. That's why teams in the NBA are basically please play for us. Whatever you want. I mean, you don't see NBA teams getting power struggles with stars anymore because stars win. And I think the NFL, the Niners in particular, don't realize what's happening. And they're still trying to have these power struggles with players. And you can do that with a middle linebacker or a tight end or a 30-year-old corner. But an all-pro wide receiver at 26 seems like him and his agent think they're going to win that power struggle. So we'll see.
I think the pushback would be on that is that the teams actually have significantly more control than the league, the NBA has. Like, for example, Deebo's not going to be able to, or he could be, and that'd be his prerogative, but he's not going to sit through training camp because the moment he does, that's an accrued season. And now you just gave the Niners even more control than what you wanted. And then even if he does play it out this deal, you got the franchise tag, you can't really wave no to a trade where you're going to go to. So I think that'd be the only part of the team, hey, look, we still have the leverage. To me, I see we're nowhere where Deebo has the leverage here, other than maybe just airing out what the Niners do. Look, this is the way they do bad business and the way it's conducting themselves. So when the 49ers have to extend someone else who's on their final year of their deal, that's when it's going to raise the red flags to other stardom players. Look,
Here's
we
what
get
Deebo
rewarded by not getting rewarded with this team.
Here's what Deebo will do. He'll play just enough to get an accrued season. He'll play. And he'll show that he's still really good. And then he'll get hurt. And then he won't play through that injury. And he'll be like, I'm done. I'm shutting myself down. I'm not playing through anything for you. I'm setting myself for free agency. And so the Niners will get this much Deebo, and then he'll be gone. And then they could think, well, okay, now you're going to get the injury prone label. You're going to take some money off you. Maybe. But you know what? The Niners are really going to suffer because they won't have Deebo and they won't have a replacement. So it goes both ways. I mean, Deebo can sabotage the Niners season and say, you know what? I showed enough. I got hurt. I'm not playing through this injury. It's a minor injury, but not playing through it for you guys. And I'm going to see what happens next year. And if you guys want to franchise tag me, we can play this game again next year where I play just enough. I really think the Niners don't want to go down that road. I know in the past, teams had more control than the players, and they needed to win this power struggle. But I think the league is changing, man. And if the Niners want to get in a war with Deebo, you're getting in a war with his agent too, CAA. That's a very powerful agent that has a lot of the biggest stars. Do you really want to be the team that doesn't do business with stars? Because the Rams do business with stars. You know what I'm saying? The Rams do business with stars. The Bucks do business with stars.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And you want to make sure you have that good reputation with trading your players, so that way you become a destination. It's not like the Niners are that attractive in itself because they are in California. And I guess that's also another point why Deebo wants out, because it's California.
And the stars in the league are getting 25, 30. I mean, quarterbacks are going for 40, 50 million a year now if they're really good. That's what Kyler wants. Wide receivers and edge rushers are going for 30. I mean, these guys are NBA stars now. They're getting NBA money. A lot of this money is guaranteed. You got to be really respectful. Parag can't just become. In fact, let's talk about it right now. Richard Sherman said more. He said that Parag's tactics rub players the wrong way. What a revelation. It's just that players they had to go through it. They had to do it. They didn't have any recourse. They weren't getting a lot of guaranteed money. The salary cap was low. Now it's high. Now players are getting money, and Parag hasn't changed. And his whole thing, I'm going to give the low ball first offer. Dude, I don't think the new generation of stars is going to sit through that. And so I think what you're seeing is a generational gap between the 49ers, an organization that's been doing things pretty much the same way for 20 years. And players who were born in 1996, 1997, who all of a sudden don't remember what the league was like when players had no power. Now, all of a sudden, they're getting paid NBA money. And they're acting like they're NBA stars. I mean, why shouldn't they? I don't know. Parag. He pointed to Parag. Remember, Sherman was his own agent. He would know.
Yep. Exactly.
We've talked about this before.
that's why when Sherman says these words about any of this, it really carries significant weight more than anyone can talk about, because like exactly that. He was his own agent. He knows what it's like to be that way with Paraj. I mean, it's just kind of just the writing on the wall, and he's the one that just set it all out for us, that we all kind of surmise a little bit how his tactics play out. Yeah, it's kind of hard to disagree with that. He definitely is being dated, and especially now that the way the NFL players are, like you said, NBA, they're becoming more vocal about what they want, and they're becoming more selfish, which is exactly what they should be. They should be more selfish. This is a brutal sport. Take care of yourself. You know, like the great Marshawn Lynch says, take care of your mentals and everything.
I mean, who takes care of themselves more than NFL franchises?
Exactly.
They cut you the minute that your salary isn't, that you don't live up to your salary. Like, as soon as you're not cost effective, you're out. Goodbye. Unless your name is Jimmy Garoppolo.
But come on.
I mean, really, it seems like with Parag, he's going to always help the Niners get a good deal with tier 2 free agents, like Eric Armstead. Good player, but you missed some time. You've had some good years, some bad years. Like, here comes Parag to lock you up because you don't have that much leverage. But a player like Buckner or Deebo, where they pretty much are like, everyone pretty much acknowledges I'm top 3 at my position.
You almost did it, Trent Williams, last year too.
Yeah, everyone acknowledges I'm top 3 at my position. There's nothing you can really say. It's either like, do you want to have a top 3 paid defensive tackle? Yes or no? Do you want to have a top 3 paid wide receiver? Yes or no? And the Niners are kind of like, no. It seems to me what they're saying, like the Niners would rather have Javon Kinlaw on a rookie deal than DeForest Buckner. They made that trade. And it seems like the Niners are going to do something like this with Deebo. Hey, although maybe not. Maybe Deebo's forcing their hand on this one. This is the best they can do to salvage it. But
yeah,
wide receivers are expensive now. If you're not paying Deebo 30, it'll be Brandon Ayuk next year if he's good. If you eventually get a top 3 wide receiver, you're paying him quarterback money. So do you want that? I think you want that.
I think I just heard, what is it? I think wide receivers are the second highest now position. Maybe not. Maybe after it's either second non-quarterback or second overall position in terms of.
It's right there with edge rusher. And what scares me is Parag has this like real old spreadsheet or whatever. He decides which positions are valuable. Like, you already know the Niners think DBs aren't valuable. They never draft DBs in the first 2 rounds. They didn't go after J.C. Jackson or Stephon Gilmore. They went after Travarius Ward, who's good, not great. What do they feel about wide receivers? Do they feel like, it's a kind of position where it's scheme dependent, you can draft, I mean, this is the team that went 23 draft picks between Terrell Owens and Deebo Samuel. Like, are they really talking themselves out of the wide receiver position entirely? In which case, can we get someone else in here to run this front office? Because this league is all about playmakers in space, man. Playmakers in space. It's not a phone booth league anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's why Kyle needs to surprise. Look, do what you did with Trent Williams last year. You have to pay this man, because Trent Williams was so close to going to play for the Chiefs until they had to re-up the offer.
Well, the difference is Trent Williams is 34, and instead of going when he got disrespected by Parag, instead of going to like social media or whatever, or his agent and saying I'm out, I'm disrespected, he just was like, Kyle, your boy can't be serious. Parag can't be serious, right? Like, he handled it like an OG, like a grown man. Nothing against Deebo, but like, he knew how to make things happen. Deebo is just like, what?
Deebo would know that, considering he's best friends with Trent.
Yeah, I don't know. Deebo didn't apparently want to fix it. Trent found a solution. He's like, right, I'm going over your head. Deebo's like, dude, I don't want to. I tweeted it. He's treating the Niners like they're the Sacramento Kings. He's treating them like he got drafted, and he's like, man, I'll be here for 3 years, but there's nothing you can do. I'll smile, but I'm leaving because this whole organization is Mickey Mouse. That's the way he's acting. And I don't know. He might have a point, man. I don't know. Like, why is Parag still here? I understand Parag being here 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like, the salary cap was tough. It was new. It was low. Teams struggle with that. Now, are you kidding? No one's up against that. The Niners are up against the salary cap. Everyone else works it out. Everyone else has no problem. Everyone that's good keeps their stars. The Niners are over here being like, you know what? Let's flip DeForest Buckner. Let's flip. I don't know if that's the way to do business anymore in the NFL. I know the Patriots do things like that sometimes, but I don't know if they would do it.
Patriots do it when the player's gonna get washed. They don't do it when they gotta pay him like that. It's not. There's kind of a little bit of a stark difference here.
Matthew says, Grant, you nailed it a few weeks ago. Salaries based on future promise, not past performance. Tough lesson for Deebo to learn. I think his agent dropped the ball. Maybe. But his agent just made Denzel Ward, who's like the 6th or 7th best cornerback in the league, like the highest paid corner ever.
Yep.
So
Catch that.
I don't know. Maybe he's winning. Maybe he's going to get paid a lot by the Jets when he gets traded. That Niner guy says, I really feel this on the Yorks. I bet Deebo guaranteed money was low with a bunch of fake money and opt-outs for the Niners. I bet John and Kyle are like, no, we need him, but Yorks won't pay.
I think
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Probably low guarantees, low salary, low signing bonus, but like, we'll call you whatever you want to be called. You want to say you got $30 million a year? We'll say you have $30 million a year. You want to say you're the highest paid non-quarterback? We'll give you that headline. But a week later, it's going to be, Parag got him again. Look at the guaranteed money. That's what they did with Kaepernick, right? That's what they did with Kaepernick. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of their playbook. That would make sense to me.
That's what I thought that was why the 49ers were going to try in the contract, like just keep his guarantees lower side, but give him like the prestige of like, look, APY highest paid. And then maybe Deebo sees that and is like, cool, man, 50 million guarantee, but 30 APY 31, I'm Gucci.
But Deebo's not stupid. Deebo's very smart.
He's a very smart agent too.
He's very business savvy, and his agent is not messing around. Like these agents right now, of the biggest stars, are out for guaranteed money. That's what it's all about right now. The Niners are way in the past thinking they can give out these phony contracts and just give the player a headline. Like those days are over. Those days are over. Are you kidding? Deshaun Watson just sat out a year and got a fully guaranteed $250 million contract. Are you kidding? Are you kidding, Parag? So, yeah, I think that Niner guy is absolutely onto something. Michael Durant says Deebo agent sucks. Maybe for Niner fans, just because you can finesse the Browns and overpaying for a player doesn't mean you can control the market on wide receiver. Deebo loses value every day. He isn't signed. Deebo sacrificial lamb. We shall see. I don't think Deebo or Tory Dandy are acting like they control the wide receiver market. I think the Niners are acting like it. They're like, you know what? I don't care what these other teams are paying for wide receivers. I don't see it. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. That's not acknowledging that. It's like, all right, well, you're stuck in the past then. All right, moving on.
I think the funny part to me is how much the Niners invest so heavily in draft capital on wide receivers, and then the time they finally hit one, they don't want to pay him and splurge. It's like, isn't this what you guys have been looking for in investing? That's why I always throw all these draft picks year after year. And the time it finally comes and you have to pay for it, it's like, we found our receiver. No, we're not going to pay. No, we're okay off that. Come on.
Okay, next one. Matt Mayoko's theory. He went on KNBR, I believe it was KNBR, on the radio in the Bay, and said that it's basically personal. It's personal to Deebo. He can't explain exactly what the personal issue is, but it's personal. And that's funny. To me, I think it's not personal. I think it's strictly business. And I think the Niners don't understand how a 26-year-old megastar does business in 2022. I don't think the Niners understand how much power and leverage Deebo Samuel has in business. And this is a horsepower check. Deebo and his agent are saying, we don't do business like this anymore. If you don't come, if you don't meet us on our terms, on our schedule, we're gonna end this. We're in control. It's basically about who's in control. And the Niners, I think, for the last month have been saying, like, no, we're not going to give you control. No, we're not going to give you control. Well, I think it might. I don't think there's anything the Niners can do. I think this is sort of a trend in the league, and I think it's business. I don't think Deebo's necessarily mad. I think he understands. Look, if the Niners give me $25 million in California is not the same as $25 million in Texas, right? I don't know if players understood that 10 years ago, but they know that now. Mm-hmm. And so if the Niners aren't even going to come to $25 million and another team might go beyond it, then it's like the gap between those is even bigger than it is on paper. Like the money you're getting after taxes and after rent, because you're not going to buy a house out here, all that is way lower in California. So the Niners, to really be competitive for Deebo, would have to go beyond what other teams would do. And you know they won't. You know they won't. They're going to go a little below what other teams will do. So from a business perspective, why would you work with them? If you're a businessman like Jay-Z, if you're a business, man, and you want to be paid what you're worth. I mean, you're not a Niner fan. You didn't grow up here. You don't care about their history, the 80s. You were born in 1996. You don't know who Jerry Rice is. I mean, I think this is business. I just think it's business. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and these players are mercenaries. They can give two craps about what the franchise is, your history and everything. Like all they see is the dollar signs. And literally what I just said in the last segment, they're becoming more selfish and more outspoken about it. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. I would be too. Like, you guys can easily chew me up and spit me out whenever you want. I need to take advantage of this now. And that's possible part of why I believe his usage has something to do with it in terms of longevity, because he knows running backs don't last for a long time. And so for him, exactly, it's business. It's like, hey, not only you need to pay me pretty much some top dollar, you can't be using me the same way you were last season, because I'm going to end up shortening my career. I can get injured, a freak accident. Look, I just got hurt in Nashville from a non-contact injury on my foot. That could easily happen right now running the ball with you guys in the backfield. So it's all about business moves. And I'm pretty sure that's something his agent is literally like swirling in his head, and something even himself, he can literally see the trees of the whole forest in the NFL right now.
Haven't we been hearing since we were kids about how it's a shame how the contracts aren't guaranteed in the NFL, and these teams can just cut players at any time, and the players really have no guarantee, no long-term security, and it's all a owner-centric league. I mean, since I was a kid, I've been hearing people say like that's wrong. NFL players deserve more security, more power. Why should they be at the team's whim just because there are injuries in the sport? I agree with that. And now we're seeing that get corrected. There's more money in the sport. The salary cap's higher. Guys like Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson have sort of been trailblazers and pushed, we want guaranteed money. Okay, the change is happening. Well, there's going to be a fallout. The league is going to be different. And what you're going to see is the NBA foreshadowed this. This happened in the NBA 5 years ago. Cap went up in the NBA. They got a bunch of money. Now, if you look at the highest paid players in the NBA, there's like 50 dudes, at least 50 dudes making $30 million. That's going to be the NFL in like 5 years. So if you want to know what the league's going to look like, just look at the NBA right now. And a guy like Kyrie Irving, who's like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. You know what? I want to go to Boston. You know what? I don't like Boston anymore. I want to go to Brooklyn. It's like that happens no one bats an eyelash in NBA. Did it again. Well, it's a players' league. What are you going to do? Well, that's happening now in the NFL. Deebo is maybe the first one to do it. That could be his legacy. He could be assembling a super team with LeBron James.
And I think also the brilliant Vish on your show once said, I don't know where you said it, is that he has a responsibility to also get that deal for his wide receiver peers as well. So that's something that I could never would even imagine or thought of. That's a great point right there.
The more guaranteed money, the better for everyone else. I mean, honestly, what Kirk Cousins did 4 or 5 years ago, getting that fully guaranteed contract is great. That's his legacy in the NFL. He's a mediocre quarterback and a great contract negotiator who helped get players some power in this league. Yeah. Deshaun Watson, too. That was a big one. And I think teams are pissed about that. Like, why did you do that? Do you understand
the owners? I think it's isn't that from with the Panthers or something about Baker Mayfield, about why that's part of why Baker Mayfield can't get traded, because the teams are being petty. Like, you just ruined the market by giving Deshaun Watson and all people this. I know. And now we're not going to get it.
But what's so interesting to me about the Browns doing that, how old is the GM of the Browns? He's like 34. Oh. He's my age. So he's not caught up in that old school, conservative, traditional stuff. He's right there in the same generation as Deebo Samuel and Deshaun Watson, and he doesn't have any problem treating them as the stars that they are. The Niners over here, John Lynch is like, I played in the 90s. No one treated me like a star. I had to do this. I didn't get guaranteed. Like, well, sorry. Sorry, John. That was a different time. Congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame. Teddy says offer was how they planned to use him. 18 games missed. Offer was how they planned to use him. Maybe. I guess we'll never know. You think they can get A.J. Brown? No. I don't think they want to spend big money on wide receivers. I think they're cool spending on a fullback and a tight end because they don't make as much money. You know what I mean? Again, it's the Browns. Of course, they paid Watson.
That was kind of wild that they did do that. So.
It was very wild. Mark says for the second straight year, the Niners are dominating the news leading up to the draft. Jerry Jones is jealous.
Jerry Jones is so jealous.
But are they profiting off of this? Or am I profiting off of this? Michael Duran says, so you're telling me the Browns are setting the market for good teams in the league by paying these players? The Raiders paid AB. Look what happened. Okay.
Well, wasn't broken off, though.
Niner fans are trying to push back and say that Parag and the Niners are still doing business the right way. Okay. Well, it's not just the Browns. It's, a lot of teams that are giving out more and more guaranteed money. We'll see what happens. There's that trend. And there's the Niners holding on to the past and just sort of saying, it's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not acknowledging it. Okay. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I just have a feeling that not acknowledging facts is a rough way to do business.
I mean, the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is still the highest paid guarantee that they handed out right now after they've already done
That's
multiple
a lot.
contracts says a lot.
Also, I don't know if you caught it, but in that press conference for John Lynch, I asked him, I said, a lot of people would say you haven't accomplished your main goals this offseason. You didn't extend Deebo. You didn't trade Jimmy. You didn't use the cap space you could have created by trading Jimmy. So that would mean you're having a subpar offseason. How do you respond to that criticism? And he goes on like, what do you mean? We improved special teams. And then at the end, he said something that was new that I didn't follow up on because it caught me by surprise. He said, we've really spent a lot the first 5 years here. Top 5, top 10 in cash spending, cap spending. We always knew that we were going to need to dial it back a little bit. And that was the plan. And we were prepared for that. What? So the plan was to dial back spending this year. You went to the NFC Championship game last year, and instead of being like, let's spend a little more and get over the hump, you're like, you know what? That was a fluke that we made it that far. Let's not overreact. Let's dial back the spending and stick to the plan. Like, wow.
Does Billy Beane run the 49ers too?
Wow. So Deebo, if you want to know why they're not giving you the guaranteed money you want, the plan was to dial back spending this year. Sorry, bad timing. What?
Dude, that's why I think it's wild. It's like, it's one thing you guys are going to splurge on free agency, like great, but you're not going to splurge on your own talent, your own homegrown talent. Isn't that the point, to draft elite players and to keep them?
Okay, last Deebo topic. So we really have been hard on the 49ers for mismanaging the Deebo thing because frankly, it looks like they said they want Deebo long-term and Deebo's like, I'm rejecting you. And I'm not saying why, but I don't want to be here. Is it possible that the 49ers are a little hesitant to make a long-term commitment to Deebo? And is it possible that a long-term investment in Deebo is a bad investment? He's 26. He's gotten hurt every season. He plays through injuries a lot. He seems to have a little bit of an issue keeping his weight down, and he does pull muscles and have soft tissue injuries. On the other end, he's only 26. What do you think? Good or bad long-term investment, Deebo Samuel?
Yeah, I think so I'm not cheating here. I'd probably lean a little more towards bad side because at first with the 49ers, I thought it's only because, he had one really phenomenal year, and that wasn't until he became a running back. Thus, your real value is as a running back. Now, sure, it's his versatility that's pretty sweet. That's what makes him the whole package, which is why if he doesn't want to be a running back, it's kind of like, all right, you're not really like the most valuable. But the point is, like, the fact that he is a running back shows that he's not meant to be for the future. Running backs get hurt. They keep falling off trees like that. So that's why I thought for the 49ers sake, like, I wouldn't really find it, feasible that they would give him, that's around $70 million guarantee range. Like, I wouldn't blame them because I get it. You have the rookie contract, why not splurge on your own? Even if you got to overpay, it's fine. But it's like, essentially, he really only had 1 year. I understand 2019 looked promising. He had some baller moments, but to me, I don't think he was such an elite player like 2019, like how I'm hearing like some people are trying to tout him out to be. Like, it was a great promising year to project, but even in 2020,
it wasn't 2021. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you think Deebo Samuel will ever recreate his 2021 level of performance ever again? Will he ever attain that level of excellence ever again?
Oh, man, I would say no, because at some point you're going to get hurt, right? And that's essentially why he doesn't want to be in that usage, assuming that is a main reason, or if not one of the reasons.
He was 25,
to me, the way I would project him,
and he was in a contract push. He was in an extension push. Yeah. So I think what you could wonder is, the year before he had trouble keeping his weight down. The Niners challenged him to get his weight back down. If he gets paid, is that going to be an issue for him? Or is he going to always be the guy he was last year where he was in flawless condition and he was super driven? He played through every injury. Why? Was it to get the bag, or was it because that's just how he plays now? I mean, I don't know. I just want to say I would have paid Deebo, and I probably would have done it in a way where he would have got all his guaranteed money up front in the first 2 years and like kind of hedge my bet that way. Be like, I want you at 26 and 27. At 28 on, we'll see. But I'll give you 60, 70 million guaranteed because it's Jed's money. It's Denise's money. I don't care. But I don't know about I wanted the Niners to sign Kittle too, and really his last 2 years have been far from phenomenal. So I don't know. And if the Niners privately feel that he's a bad long-term investment, I don't know. I guess who am I to say they're wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, to me, personally, if it was 2020 where he really was healthy, even if he did miss some games, if he showed more like a significant impact, just maybe if he missed only 3 or 4 games instead of just missing like half the season or more, I really just think the 49ers would have really been more compelled to make that initial offer that Deebo feels a little disrespected about a little more palatable to his taste. Because to me, it's just the resume. He's seeing his peers like Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and so on and so forth getting cashed out. But the reality is, like, those contracts that he wants, that he's seeking, those guys are already three to 5 years down the line of being proven players, where you just coming off one of your best years where your impact again was running back.
What's interesting to me is that like the Jets are the number 1 team interested in Deebo Samuel. That's not necessarily because they're looking at him long term. Robert Saleh's job, he's on the hot seat. Joe Douglas on the hot seat. They're essentially like, let's get Deebo in here, give him like, 200 touches next year and have him save our jobs. The way he just saved John Lynch's job, right? The Niners were 3-5. They could have missed the playoffs for the 4th time in 5 years. Things could have got weird. Deebo Samuel saved everyone's job. Hey, maybe he can do that for us. And if we only get 1 year of, at least we get to stay employed for you know what I'm saying? So to me, the Jets aren't even looking at him long term. They might have to pay the money, but this is like a please keep us all employed. So I don't know. For maybe Kyle has essentially a lifetime contract with the 49ers. He has ultimate job security. Maybe he's like, I got the best of Deebo already. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. I got the best of Deebo already. And if this is how he's going to act, then I also like Jameson Williams, Well, I don't know.
He did get the best of Deebo because it feels like he's not going to have to be able to do that running back on that running back.
Especially if Deebo came to that dinner and he was like, look, it's over. The whole running back. I did it for you once. It's over. I did it for you once because Mostert was hurt and you didn't have the trade deadline had passed. Figure it out. I'm not doing that anymore because you clearly aren't going to reward me for it. You're only going to hold it. This guy Parag over here that I just met is going to hold it against me. So yeah, I mean, if he gave that condition, then Kyle could be like, well, damn, dude. I mean, I don't know. Interesting to see if he has a good career or how much longer he'll be elite for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the point, and especially since he just wants to be a wide receiver. But you know what? I'll say that when over a month ago when I wrote that could Deebo Samuel be traded article, I will say the Jets fans picked that up and ran with it. They are praying for Deebo. So the fact that Saleh wants him on the team, that whole organization, that'd be a huge like new bright light for them.
If you needed someone to save your job, one player, Deebo be high on that list. High. There's no one else in the NFL you can be like 3rd and 20 with your season on the line and be like, well, just give it to Deebo, see what happens. And it'll work. So Caesar says this is the San Francisco Niners, one of the premier franchises in the NFL, and now you want a penny pinch after raising season ticket prices. Shake my head.
They did raise the season ticket prices. And they announced that when they were like 2-5 or something.
Dude, they raised season ticket prices and they dialed back spending this year. What? So Jed and Denise basically said, look, we spent a lot of money for this team. We don't want to spend it this year. Well, wonderful. That's great. So basically, you're kind of punting the 2nd consecutive year of Trey Lance's rookie deal. That's really that is the new trend. Get a young quarterback, but don't play him and just waste his entire rookie deal. That's genius. Drunk Leprechaun, it's early to be drunk, says the Niners trade Deebo for the 10th pick to the Jets. Do you really think they'll trade back? Lynch during his press kept saying how deep the draft is. Here's the problem with that. Tell me if this logic holds up. To trade back, teams have to want to trade up. Everyone wants to trade back this year. So it might be hard to trade back unless some team wants to trade up. And who are you trading up for? A quarterback? No. I don't know. So I don't know about trading down.
That's a huge reason why doing any trade is kind of rough. There's no top prominent quarterback prospects that you really want.
That's why the Jets are trying to trade for Deebo because he's not in this class. He's not in this draft. Garrett Wilson isn't Deebo. He's not Jamar Chase. He's a very good prospect, but the Jets would rather mortgage their future for a 26-year-old guy with soft tissue injuries and weight issues. Not weight issues, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the right move for them. Definitely the right move for them because they could draft Garrett Wilson and he could be like a couple years away and they could all get fired. NorCal Troca says, Grant, if Deebo had never become a running back, would anyone even put him in the top 5 wide receiver? He had 1,000 yards in 8 games, man. It's that the Niners were losing because they can't win passing the ball. Their quarterback isn't good enough. Their offensive line isn't good enough. to me, it's more of it's a Niner thing than a Deebo thing. It's not like Deebo was like inefficient in his 1,000 yards in half a season. I don't think that was the case. All right, let's not talk about Deebo anymore. I'm tired of Deebo. It's enough Deebo. Let's talk about Jimmy. So everyone's saying that the Niners' last opportunity to trade Jimmy is in the draft or after the draft to the Carolina Panthers. But beat writers came out this week in Carolina and said, first of all, they're not interested in Baker Mayfield. Too much like Sam Darnold. And second of all, they're not interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. He's too much like Sam Darnold. I think a lot of people thought, well, they made the Sam Darnold mistake last year. They'll make a similar mistake this year. I mean, yeah, they're stupid, but not that stupid. I'm not saying they're stupid. But if they make a stupid mistake, maybe they learn from it. And I'm thinking this year, maybe they learn from it. It seems like they're probably going to draft a quarterback. Maybe that's stupid because people don't like these. I don't know. That's a harsh word, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not the right plan, but it seems like the Niners are once again out of luck when it comes to trading Jimmy Garoppolo.
Talk about a massive failure. My God, you cannot get any worse. I mean, when you asked them, when both you and Jennifer asked them, Jimmy Garoppolo opening day roster, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Scenario. I was like, my God, come on, man. I really this is why I personally cannot like put all my chips on Lance being the actual starting quarterback for 2022 because I could definitely see a chance where these guys run it back with Jimmy again, and I don't want to keep saying it because I'm afraid I'm gonna speak it to an existence that they just love this guy so much, and maybe for some reason they don't see Trey as like doing great enough in training camp. It's like, all right, well, we got Jimmy. Let's just roll it again. Screw it. I mean,
I think the Niners are far more arrogant than that. I think the 49ers think they can keep Jimmy as the backup and make it work. That's how I think the Niners think. We can make it work. We're a tight-knit team. Jimmy's a pro. Trey's a pro. They like each other. We can handle this. It's like, really? You sure?
As soon as you throw the pick,
give it a shot. But I think that's what they're going to try to do. I think they're going to try to keep Jimmy. I've already bet my dad a bottle of wine. I think they're keeping Jimmy. Maybe they'll like slash his salary. They'll be like, look, man, we can cut you today. No one would pay you more than your $7.5 million salary guarantee. No one's trading for you. So we'll offer you $7.5 million for this year. You're not going to get that anywhere else. That's what they could try to do. But again, Jimmy could be like, oh, you want to slash my salary? My thumb hurts. I need surgery. I'm on IR. Give me all the money. So I don't know. I still think he's staying. But this is bad news for the 49ers. Sorry, 49er fans.
Yeah, because Carolina's the only team that they would really trade him for. And plus, there was never really a market. I mean, the fact that there was like 8 quarterback needy teams and you couldn't get even one team to just even sniff nothing.
What about Seattle? What about Seattle?
No, they're not going to trade him.
Why?
Seattle wouldn't even want him. Seattle doesn't even want Baker Mayfield.
Why would Seattle not want him?
Because he sucks, and they know they can pick him off.
Because they know him, right? They've seen him up close lots of times. They know exactly who he is. That's why they wouldn't want him. And
I've never heard Drew Lock be honest from Seattle.
Like, would the Niners mind facing him twice a year? Of course not. Of course not. And so why are you holding out for 2 second-round picks when you would gladly send him to a division rival and they don't want him? That says all you need to know. All right. I said I was going to have a bonus topic for you. Here's the bonus topic. Evidence that Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback. Okay. This is some serious evidence. All right. So last year, the Niners drafted Trey Lance, but they never promoted him. Remember at the state of the franchise, it was just Jimmy. Here's pictures of Jimmy in the new 94 jersey. The Niners are 4 throwbacks. Here's Jimmy's face. And when you went on the website, there was all Jimmy jerseys along with Bosa and Kittle. You go to their website now, you try to buy a Niners jersey. It's Fred Warner, George Kittle, Trey Lance. You go down the whole page. It's Warner, Kittle, Lance, little Bosa. You can put your own name in there. Warner, Kittle, a lot of Lance, a lot of Kittle, even Deebo. No Jimmy. You got to go to page 2 to find Jimmy. And I feel like the 49ers often telegraph their business intentions or their football intentions through their business moves. And burying Jimmy Garoppolo after cashing in on his likeness for so long, I think is telling on maybe where they would like to go this year, where they would like to go. They're cashing in on Trey right now.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think to add on to evidence is also because they brought Brian Greasy in. Yep, and that kind of makes sense. I mean, first of all, that was random. But second of all, it kind of makes sense because they have someone Now they have someone who they talk to him from his technical standpoint, but then with Greasy, it's more so from an experience standpoint. And that's something that Kyle Shanahan's already said. Like, look, when he goes in there, maybe throws pick first play of the game, or to lose the game, you got Greasy to talk him through it. He's been through it. He's been through the war. He understands it, and he could just relay that and like gets to a level down with Trey. So I think the way they built the staff around him was also another clear signature that he was going to be the starter. But as much as I think he is going to be a starter, it's hard for me, again, to put all the chips on the table when you still have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. Because all it's going to take is maybe whatever OTAs or like nothing that show stands out in training camp for them to be like, hey, Jimmy, get in there. Let's see what you can do. Are they going to make it a competition? Like, what's going to happen there?
All right, I'm on the NFL Shot website with the Niners, okay? I'm just going to scroll down, and I'm going to tell you what they have in order, okay? Deebo, Lance, Deebo, Kittle, Bosa, Deebo, Warner, Kittle, Bosa, Deebo, Kittle, Bosa, Kittle, Bosa, Lance, Kittle, Garoppolo. Finally, took a while. That's on the if you go on your phone, it takes a lot longer to get to Garoppolo. He's still there. If you want to spend $150 on a 49ers Garoppolo jersey, you can still do that. But you have to dig a little deep, and it's highly unadvised. Don't do it. Also, Deebo, Jose, would you advise Niner fans to buy a 49ers Deebo jersey right now? Because you could do it. You can do it right now.
Yeah, maybe if it's discounted. If it's discounted, sure.
I love how the Niners are trying to squeeze out a little bit more money off of him while they call him a diva. Hey, but buy his jersey, even though we might trade him tomorrow.
Damn, you just stumped a point. I was going to say, I don't remember. I remember buying jerseys like even if you didn't put the what's hot selection category, is some of the jerseys would just automatically be in the orders of what people are buying most likely. It's like, hey, all these are hot. Let's make sure they're at the top so maybe more people are going to want them and be convenient. But actually, yeah, once you said that.
So the fans are finally over Jimmy. They're not buying his jersey. That's too bad. Man, so many bobbleheads, so many memorabilias. It's all over, I guess.
That's why he's working for Subway now.
Dude, I think that's his calling. He's way better in commercials than Baker Mayfield. Like, Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Jimmy, but Jimmy is a better commercial actor than Baker Mayfield. You know? Because there's like
Jimmy always give me like Die Bar vibes.
There's just an authenticity about Jimmy that comes through. It's like, yeah, he really doesn't know anything about his Nona. I mean, I believe that. I believe that. Jonathan Jones of CB said CBS said he sees Carolina trading for Jimmy well after the draft. Oh, well, I don't. They're going to draft a quarterback. Rams dropping draft movie trailers, Niners in turmoil.
What?
That's the Ramelia Sports Report. Ramelia. Like the Familia, but the Rams.
The media draft thing.
Ricky Miranda says, Grant, how much would it take for you to buy a custom Niners jersey with the name Play the Kid? I wouldn't pay $1 for that. I'm in a mission to not put any money in the Niners' pockets. I just cover the team. I don't fund the team. They got enough funding from you guys. I don't know.
Apparently not. They don't want to pay Deebo.
Yeah, not enough. They had to dial back spending this year. It's your fault. Actually, the Niner fans, your fault. You should have gave Jed York more money. You want Deebo? Send Jed York a check for $20 right and do a GoFundMe. Don't.
It's funny going back to the season ticket holder price increases. My uncle's a season ticket holder, and that man was pissed. He's like, bro, we just came back in the stadium. They're already raising the prices. They're not even a winner right now. That was when they did it, when they were losing the first quarter of the season.
Yeah, real quick. If you want some 49ers merch, some Grant Cohn merch, not 49ers merch, some Grant Cohn merch, because you're into that kind of thing, there's a survey on my Twitter right now, pinned to the top, where you can like vote on what you would buy. We're getting it underway. There's some specs on some potential things. So if you want to buy, you wanted some input, it's on my Twitter. It's pinned to the top. You can vote and say what you would buy. Just trying to get some information here. Philip Wilson says, if this Trey Lance project fails, the Yorks will end the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch era. Perhaps.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
1,000%.
Ominous24 says Ricky Waters and Trey Sermon jerseys are all ahead of Jimmy's. That's what I'm saying, man. There was Trey Sermon jerseys.
Wait, Trey Sermon has a jersey getting sold?
Yes. Ricky Waters, Jerry Rice, Steve Young. I don't know about Joe Montana, though. Joe's been kind of saying some salty stuff about the Niners recently. I didn't see any Joe Montana jerseys.
Or YA Tibble now.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's our show. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Jose. Fresh cut, fresh shirt. What are you doing the rest of the day? You got anything going on? Just Grinding.
We'll go work out, be on standby in case they trade Deebo.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Are you going to Vegas?
Oh shoot, I got to pack. You just reminded me. Damn it.
Have a good time. You might be work. I'm just gonna be sitting here waiting for the trade tomorrow. It's possible we won't do any work, but we're on standby. We're on standby.
I was gonna be there with a fake pencil, like I'm working.
I'm working. Well, have fun in Vegas. Jose's holding it down for the All49ers. Boots on the ground.
Hold it down.
That's how we do. See you guys later. Peace.